On the mountain, he stands unflinching, and the two men can only watch in disbelief. With one murmuring it seems impossible to kill a magic beast of this caliber alone, even as they had just seen him do exactly that. So that's the SS Rancor, the Ice Dragon Emperor. The man in question thinks how noisy it is. It looks like he will have to hide this form again. Tomorrow is an important day, and he wonders what kind of future it will lead to. With a smirk, he mutters that he is looking forward to it. Meanwhile, outside the door, a few girls whisper nervously, noticing how different the hallway looks compared to usual. Inside, a young girl sits before an old man, and someone informs them that it is the lady from the Orlshan family. That silvery hair, those deep sapphire eyes, that skin akin to a bisque doll. She is just as beautiful as the rumors say, the young mistress Letitia Orlshan. She is truly the Belle Poupée, that most beautiful doll. The old man shows her the dress she requested. Hoping it meets her expectations, to have the lady of the Orlshan family visit their small tailoring shop is a dream come true. She smiles at him and promises to place another request in the future. Her beauty was that of a dream. He was rendered speechless. Her delicate appearance and her quiet demeanor have earned the title of Belle Poupée, the princess doll. But in reality, she bursts into the house, calling out to her father and mother with bright energy, clutching the dress to her chest as she announces her choice for the National Founding Day ceremony. She urges them to admire the stunning, delicate stitching, the exquisite embroidery and the craftsmanship, praising it as truly wonderful. Her mother begins to scold, but she stops her with a gentle smile and reassuring words, promising that she has kept her promise to act as the Belle Poupée. In reality, far from being a doll, Letitia was a free-spirited female warrior. She holds the dress out for her mother to see. Her mother says a girl's dress is her armor, and this one looks perfect. Although she was concerned because it was a small downtown shop, Letitia tells her mother it is not good to hold prejudices. The size of the shop doesn't define the craftsmanship quality. She will decide whether it is good or not only when she sees it with her own eyes. That is how she wishes to live. With that, she declares she will be looking forward to meeting her future husband tonight. Her mother mumbles she worries her so much. Her husband gently presses her hand on her shoulder and tells her not to worry too much. He then turns to his daughter and tells Letitia Prince Gilbert is known to have difficulties with women, that there's talk of him habitually visiting brothels. Is she sure? She smirks and says that is a foolish question, father. This engagement will reaffirm the ties between the imperial family and the Orlesian family. She will ensure that this arrangement will return a favorable result. Her mother tears up and says she has grown up beautifully. But then she points out, isn't Prince Gilbert also known as the Red-Eyed? And then her mother tells her, for the love of God, she should be on her best behavior in public. She smiles and replies of until now, she had to decline proposals from countless houses. Father rejected all of them, so she turned 16 without a fiancé. Now she finds herself wondering what kind of person her future husband is. She steps into the glittering banquet hall, the chatter of nobles filling the air, and freezes the moment her eyes meet his. Those unmistakable red eyes mark him instantly, the second prince of the Rossmann Empire, Gilbert Rossmann. Without a greeting, he declares that he prefers mature women. No matter her doll-like beauty, he has no interest in her. She only smiles, and he comments that she thinks she can sway all men with a smile, warning her not to lump him in with them. She cannot win him over. She internally thinks what a feisty boy. When she remains silent, his temper flares, and he snaps that he doesn't want an art exhibit as a wife, that if she wishes to annul this engagement, he will gladly give his signature. He begins to leave, and she bows respectfully before him, surprising him. She thinks he is exactly as the rumors portray, and makes a mental note to investigate those brothel visits later. Onlookers murmur, appalled, how cruel is the second prince. Even as the emperor's son, with that behavior, he seems an inept heir. She thinks if he brazenly insults people, obviously it would result in this, but wonders if he's doing it on purpose. If he really isn't thinking about his behavior, then he's a fool. That said, his face isn't half bad. Beautiful things have worth simply by being beautiful. Very well then, she will appreciate his worth as an art exhibit. Whether her husband is an art exhibit or not is no issue to her. He turns his back on her, curtly declaring that their greetings are over. Yet she trails after him, her steps quiet but persistent. He spins around, glares sharp enough to cut, only to find her offering a sweet, unbothered smile. His silence stretches, and she wonders if the pressure is already too much for him. Despite that, She can tell by how he picks up his glass, contrasting his disheveled clothes. There is grace in his mannerism that one's true nature seeps through subconscious behavior. He must have been truly disciplined. Or rather, he chose to discipline himself that he finally asks how much longer does she plan on following him around. They are not little ducklings. She giggles at his choice of words that he turns his face toward her, remarking that she can laugh if she pleases, it makes no difference. What does matter, he adds, is that she stopped following him. Yet with the way he half turns as if to hide his face, she can't help but wonder if he's flustered, that he is quite chaste for someone who supposedly has women problems. Makes her wonder if those rumors are even credible. She realizes it is not good to believe everything at face value. People whisper about her as the poor belle. They say that even if she marries into the family, the Duke only treats his daughter as a tool. The Orlesian family is ruthless. She finds it irritating, wishing people would mind their own business, and then looks at him. He doesn't seem to care. She wonders if the opinions of others truly don't concern him, or if he's simply grown used to them, that if he is used to this kind of treatment, then there's no surprise that he has such a bitter personality. After all, he is the cursed prince. All at once, he turns on his heel and heads for the exit. She darts after him, but he says his mood has soured, so he's leaving. Where to, she calls. He counters if she's heard the rumors. Then she should already know that a place no woman would ever enjoy. But then he half turns, a smirk tugging at his lips. Still, if she insists on following, he wouldn't mind taking her there. To his shock, she suddenly clings to his arm. He hadn't expected her to actually take the offer, but she thinks this is her chance to confirm her suspicions. She can escape from this party and clear her suspicions about him. There's no reason for her not to go. He lets out a sigh, already regretting it. She now finds herself seated between two charming women who offer her a plate of fresh fruit, and she blinks at the scene around her in a daze, pretty girls on both sides gushing over her silky smooth hair. What is this place if not heaven? Soft and comfy sofa, yummy fruits, pretty ladies left and right. She might even end up staying here forever, just cannot resist it. While poor Albert sits across from her completely ignored, and she only smiles brighter, basking in adoration as though she has stumbled upon paradise itself, even musing half seriously, if she actually becomes Prince Gilbert's wife, could she come here more often? Surely being a regular here must be one of the perks in Albert. Watching her with a twitching brow, mutters under his breath, "What's with her?" Her infamous husband doesn't seem to be having fun with the beauties by his side. Actually, he seems pretty disinterested. He is literally observing the interior. It's a dimly lit room with a cozy atmosphere. Couples holding hands who occasionally go behind that door and disappear. She supposes that hints at the nature of the establishment. Although most customers are here to socialize over a nice meal. She thought this place would be riddled with all sorts of sin, but it lacks obscenity. She was proven wrong in a good way. Alicia asks Gilbert, why did he bring Lady Belle to a place like this? He announces she is his fiancée as of today. Alicia freaks out and blurts Lady Belle shouldn't worry. Okay, Sir Gilbert has never touched a girl here. Gilbert mutters not to waste her breath saying such pointless things. He stands, announcing that the engagement won't last much longer anyway. The doll princess of the Orlesian family has no reason to marry him, or perhaps. He grips her chin, tilting her face up as he murmurs, is it for a conspiracy? Was she told to eliminate him? His deep crimson eyes up close, they captivate her gaze with such noble shimmer. Their beauty surpasses any jewels she has laid sight upon. She might lose herself in them. Suddenly, he jerks back, his expression tightening. Seriously, what's wrong with her? Don't look at him like that. She only smiles, as if helpless to resist, and replies his eyes are beautiful. His body stills, the word striking deeper than it should. Beautiful, he repeats, almost disbelieving, and tells her not to lie to him. These wretched eyes, he despises them so much he wants to gouge them out. And she? Deep down, she must find him disgusting too. After that, he abruptly turns and disappears behind the doors. She thinks the claim that he had never touched the brothel girls was a sugar-coated lie. There must have been someone waiting on him behind those doors. She is not so narrow-minded as to find slight cases of cheating absolutely unforgivable. She understands that he has lived with circumstances that would prevent him from forming any attachments. When she found out about her engagement with Prince Gilbert, she read through documents and stories about his curse. A traitor who attempted to overthrow the royal family. A lunatic who poisoned his brothers to seize the throne. A foolish king who caused wars in the name of love. 3 of the imperial family, who caused the country's downfall, had one trait in common. They were all born with red eyes. That trait was an anomaly. Even if the parents had ordinary eye colors, for some inexplicable reason the mutation occurred periodically. At first, people jeered it as mere coincidence. But as it continued, the coincidence turned into fear. Eventually the ones with eyes red like devil's blood were branded cursed. To Letitia, it's nonsense, nothing but a twisted tale. The curse of the red eyes is nothing more than a superstition. Every terrible act of violence was caused by their difficulty in expressing their emotions and poor childhood. If they had someone to tenderly care for them, they wouldn't have done this. Instead, they were outcasts, forced into isolation. They were feared because of this curse. She wonders how did people not get they were only making it worse. Throughout history, were all the kings and aristocrats just fools? Suddenly, Laura pulls Letitia to her side, whining that Alicia is too mean and that she wants a pampered Lady Belle for herself. But Alicia tugs her back, insisting that she was called to this table and that she'll keep her company until Sir Gilbert returns. With that, the other girls wave and leave. Alicia admits normally they wouldn't be at the tables unless they were called for. However, Sir Gilbert was the savior of this parlor, thus everyone naturally flocks to him. Laura adds this place used to be really bad. But Alicia calls out to her, saying she shouldn't discuss the parlor's private matters in front of others. Letitia, however, fixes them with her large, expressive eyes and entreats, "Please, won't you tell me?" Laura falters at once, powerless before such loveliness. Laura exclaims if she's willing to hear it from her, she would happily tell her everything. But Alicia tells her to calm herself down, reminding her the sweet, beautiful, lovely Lady Belle is a member of the Orlesian family. The commoners are not allowed to touch her in the first place, even though she has been touching her this whole time. She then gently apologizes to her, saying Laura isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. They finally admit that this parlor was a gang hangout. Laura then asks has she ever heard of the mercenary knights? Letitia nods. Independent knights who hold no loyalty to any nation. They accept various requests such as escorting and magical beast extermination. Although they are generally referred to as mercenary knights, there are actually many different subcategories. There are only a handful of SS rankers per country. Their level of strength is enough to make knights commanders bow. On the other hand, low-level rankers earn very little. Many of them are uncouth individuals. Most of their patrons in the past were low rankers. In any world, their behavior couldn't be described as acceptable. Laura admits those were rough times, but then Prince Gilbert made his appearance. He sat in the parlor's eye-catching center seat, making the atmosphere around the room so elegant they could mistake it for a royal palace. She was so relieved when those thugs shamefully left. She adds the royal name's influence truly is amazing. After that, the parlor gained a reputation for being establishment-worthy or Prince Gilbert's patronage. As a result, they became more popular with high-profile customers. They even managed to renovate the place. Thereafter, Sir Gilbert visited them frequently, and at times, he would even give her tips on how to serve the customers. Suddenly, Alicia tells her to stop and says to Letitia they may be presumptuous, but let her speak on behalf of Sir Gilbert's honor. She declares Sir Gilbert has never done anything to the brothel girls. Nothing of the sort. Letitia nods eagerly, relieved at the thought so no bedroom activities after all. Judging by Laura's pure innocence, it seems that she truly wishes to highlight Gilbert's goodness. The tips she received are probably on etiquette, conversation skills, and the like. Alicia then whispers although he acts brash, Sir Gilbert is kind and he is a gentleman. This lady says such nice things about him. It seems that her husband is quite the character. They feed her chocolates, but suddenly Gilbert appears, scolding them not to spoil her with sweets. Holding a dish in his hand, he asks if they want the doll to grow plump and round. She blinks at the plate, wondering what it is. A meticulously put-together crescent moon with a beautiful golden hue without a single bun mark, all garnished with a bright red tomato sauce. What an appetizing omelet. She wonders if he got to the back in order to request this dish from the chef. She pouts, tempted to eat it too, when her eyes catch the second plate in his hand. Alicia, quick to notice, asks if that one is meant for Lady Belle. Flustered, he replies he didn't order it for anyone specifically. He just happened to order it, that's all. Letitia thinks it was for no reason then. Her eyes follow the plate as he puts such a delicious dish right before her eyes. It's like he's trying to torture her. She wishes she ate something at the party. He suddenly says he bets she was too busy staring at him and didn't even eat a single thing. That's why she's so scrawny that he quietly adds she should eat better. A smile lights up her face as it hits. His way of being kind is in the form of consideration. Laura lifts the dish and urges her to open her mouth with a playful, "Ah." Gilbert snaps at her, telling her not to treat Letitia like a child. Surely she knows how to feed herself. Laura only murmurs it's her job. Letitia forces a nervous smile and reminds herself to behave. She can almost see Laura's ears and tail drooping, but she supposes that shows how much she cares. With that thought, she takes her first bite and is instantly delighted. Where do she even begin to describe this flavor? The sweet taste of the meat spreads through the fluffy egg. The tomato sauce accents the rest of the dish perfectly. She could eat this for the rest of her life. The parlor has such a wonderful chef. Gilbert watches her as she eats before muttering to himself, as expected of the doll princess. Her etiquette is impeccable. She thinks she can almost hear him. He's not the type to say things outright. Still, she can't deny that side of him is oddly cute. Turning back to Laura, she exclaims that the omelet is absolutely delicious and that she must thank the chef. Laura only smiles and reveals that Sir Gilbert himself prepared the dish. She momentarily freezes in shock that he says it's nothing really, he just felt like cooking, and she can just leave it if she doesn't like it. She watches him, surprised. He just felt like cooking. With a small smile, she exclaims, "Actually, it's very delicious." "Is that so?" He asks and says it's a relief. He then begins eating himself. She watches him, thinking how unbearably cute he looks. Cute men might be her type, but his cooking skills are hardly born of happy origins. They stem from the poisoning attempt of the second prince, that it was a scandal that shook the entire empire. Even now, the culprit's identity is still unknown. They left behind a large trail of clues, yet they remain on the run. Thus, the culprit must be someone with significant influence. Logically speaking, there must be a part of the royal family. Ever since that day, the prince never ate anything he didn't cook himself. The party. He never brought the glass of wine to his lips. His decision to cook for himself was a result of his distrust in others. He doesn't even have a single bodyguard. Even if he doesn't like having other people around, he should still have at least one. It's as if there's someone who wishes for his demise. "I just felt like cooking." Those words have a deeper meaning, carrying an incredible weight. In that case, Letitia resolves to shield him from any more pain, while also approaching as tenderly and carefully as possible. She jolts back to her senses when Laura suddenly says Belle belongs to the Orlesian family, doesn't she? And asks, has she heard of the Emperor of the Frost Dragon? She replies no. They say he has silver hair that shimmers under the moonlight. His eyes are as blue as cold sapphires, and everything about him is shrouded in mystery. He is an SS-ranked mercenary knight whose fame skyrocketed like a meteor, that no one knows his real name or origins. It is said the Emperor of the Dragon's silver hair is so beautiful, which is why there are so many rumors linking him to the Orlesian family. Smiling, Letitia lets out a soft, "Really?" She smiles back at Bella and says it is unlikely that a noble lady like Belle would be interested in mercenary knights, and apologizes for her intrusion. A small smile tugs at Bella's lips as she thinks to herself, so it was her silver hair. Interesting. Laura then gives a quiet look at Gilbert and asks what does he think of the Emperor of the Frost Dragon. Gilbert replies despite all these rumors, he remains completely anonymous. This level of secrecy suggests he might just be a plaything for some noble, or perhaps not human at all. She looks surprised and mumbles, "Really?" Dismissing him outright, Gilbert mutters. His excessive mystery makes him highly suspicious and accuses him of being someone shady. Laura tells him not to say such things just because Belle is here. Male jealousy is unbecoming. He flinches at the accusation and blurts what? He is not jealous. The raised voices draw the attention of the nearby men. One of them turns, and Alicia's face pales as their eyes meet. He smirks and steps closer. "How are you, Alicia?" he asks. She asks him what he wants, reminding him that if he intends to enter, he must first register at the reception. He slams his foot on the table and lifts her chin with one hand, grinning. Doesn't that sound boring? He came all this way just to see her. Letitia glares at him, thinking how inappropriate his behavior is, but shakes her head, forcing herself to stay calm. She turns back to Laura, asking who they are, but then notices the girl's trembling frame and wide, fearful eyes. It's not a simple matter. Bella gently holds her hands, snapping her back upright, and assures her she is right here with her. Laura takes a deep breath before murmuring they are low-ranking knights who used to be regular patrons. But after the place's rating increased, they could no longer afford it, and she has not seen them for a long time. And because they were sometimes violent, she felt relieved at their absence. Letitia thinks it doesn't seem like they gathered the money to enter the place. Why are they showing up now? Suddenly, Gilbert steps forward, positioning himself in front of Alicia, and asks sharply, "Do they realize in front of whom they're behaving this way?" Bella's thoughts race. The prince himself is intervening that I end this country. Class distinctions are sacred. She doesn't think the chaos will last longer. But then the man lunges forward, seizing Gilbert's hand, and says confidently he knows that very well, Prince Gilbert. Gilbert looks shocked and Letitia's eyes go wide, thoughts spinning. Is this possible? He's from the royal family. Alicia steps forward, warning sharply that touching him is strictly forbidden and demands he let go, adding that she will handle the matter herself. Gilbert, however, motions for her to step back and addresses the man directly, saying his actions have crossed the line and he will face the consequences. The man lets go of Gilbert's hand with a dramatic flourish and remarks that it is a terrifying matter, but wonders aloud who will punish them, noticing there are no guards around. Letitia thinks she should have brought someone from the Orlesian family, but quickly decides she can handle this herself. She steps behind Gilbert and questions what he is doing. He glances at her briefly before allowing her to stand beside him. The man comments that it is a wise move, claiming he believes in gender equality. But the prince scoffs, so what if there are no guards? He is Gilbert, the second prince of the Rossman Empire, and that will not change. He asks them, do they now realize in whose presence they commit this disgraceful act? The girls watch nervously as the men exchange glances, then burst into laughter. The man remarks that of course they do. Since his arrival, the place has changed so much that they can no longer approach it. Suddenly, he grabs Gilbert's face, adding that it has become far too difficult, which makes the situation extremely annoying. So they have decided to challenge his authority to reclaim their position in the place once. Both Alicia and Laura look visibly traumatized. Gilbert asks whether they are ready for what might happen, and the man dismissively claims that he is. Gilbert warns that approaching the prince could lead to severe consequences, but before he can continue, the man hurls him across the room. Teasing, he remarks that Gilbert truly is an indispensable member of the royal family. Letitia rushes forward and checks over Gilbert, finding no signs of bleeding and no injury to his head. He touches her shoulder, warning her to stay away, but she seizes his hand instead. The man notes that they seem to have a new, very charming young lady, and wonders why she doesn't introduce herself. Alicia tells him to stop, clarifying that this lady is Letitia from the Orlesian family. The man pauses, speculating whether she could be Belle Papay, but then mocks the idea, declaring such lies impossible and inconceivable. Belle Orlesian from the Orlesian family could not be in a place like this. Abruptly, he grabs her face, lifting it up, and asks what she thinks. Would she want to spend some time with him? She thinks his morals are depraved and his appearance revolting, and his barbaric actions against the weak are unbearable. She will not overlook this. But suddenly, Albert reaches out, gripping the man's hand with one hand and holding Bella behind him with the other, instructing her to hide behind him and wait for the right moment to escape. She insists that she cannot do that. He turns toward her, admitting that he never expected to find a fiancée, yet it never occurred to him that Belle Papay would agree so easily that he smirks, adding that, of course, it must be because of her parents' orders. Even so, he is grateful to her. If she doesn't want him, that's fine, that he has grown tired of everything. But he won't allow her to get involved because of him. With that, he announces that when they return to the palace, he will formally request to break off the engagement. Then he turns back to face the group, whispering that he does not know if he will make it back safely. But then, he offers a bitter smile and apologizes for making her feel afraid. Evil men laughing as they beat a member of the royal family. Such an act is unforgivable and deserves the harshest punishment. But it seems someone at the heart of the state is protecting them. From the beginning, that target has been the second Prince Gilbert. She realizes it is a trap, and someone is aiming to take him down while he is alone. Her eyes burn with fury as the thought strikes her. Someone is trying to harm her dear husband. Calmly, she commands the man to let go of his hand that he teases, asking what she said, implying she wishes to be with him. She repeats herself, louder this time. She said, let go of his hand. Is he deaf? Who gave him permission to touch her husband? Suddenly the man hurls him toward her. She bends down to catch Gilbert, but fixes her gaze on the man, saying firmly that she should teach him something. Members of the royal family with red eyes often possess intelligence that surpasses physical strength. Him and his kind are unworthy of his attention, so she will deal with them herself. Standing tall, she tells them not to worry and promises they will be fully satisfied. With that, the dragon appears behind her, freezing the room in stunned silence. Even Gilbert, left wide-eyed, murmurs Letitia. She says that at last her dear husband has called her by her name. When he begins to speak, uncertain and stumbling over his words, she hushes him gently and urges him to stay behind her. He tries to protest, saying he isn't sure he understands any of this, but she only touches his face with a tender caress and concedes that perhaps he does not. Simply put, she wishes to bear her love for him with every ounce of passion in her heart. That word. His eyes widen, and she continues that she will clean things up here. This is dangerous to Miss Alicia and Miss Laura, so no need to fret, it will be over soon, so he should wait for her like a good boy. Eyes drenched in despair and devoid of any hope, she holds his face and declares she won't let him make such eyes ever again. That he leans closer into her hand and she smiles, thinking how lovely he looks like this. But then his eyes snap open and realization strikes. What is he doing? She watches him as if in a trance, unable to wait another minute nor another second to make him wear that flustered face again and smother him in love. Yet before she can, the man attacks from behind, scoffing at what kind of fool would lower their guard just to flirt. Suddenly, a dragon appears, startling him, and she steps forward beside it and asks if he truly thought his so-called surprise attack could work on her. Too bad for him. Her dragons will strike down anyone who dares raise a hand against her. She strokes the two beasts with tender pride, murmuring how good they are, then smiles as her gaze returns to him, remarking that now that she has taken a good look, his face does ring a bell that he is the idiot who caused a violent disturbance which cost him a demotion to an E-rank. The man grumbles, demanding who she even is, before scoffing that those ice dragons are just like his. She smirks before bursting into laughter, mocking he still doesn't know who she is even after she has shown all her cards. She was going to interrogate him, but it seems like he doesn't even know the face of his commissioner. He probably only saw the orders and the payment. Those orders must have been stamped with the aristocratic seal, no? That's why they are being used like pathetic little pawns. The man yells what the hell, and asks who is she. Her voice drops, low and dangerous, as she asks was she not clear. She is Letitia of the Orlesian Duchy. They call her Belle Poupée, or the Doll Princess, although she supposes these guys would be far more familiar with this form. Suddenly, a magic circle ignites beneath her, and the transformation takes hold. In the next instant, she becomes a man before their eyes, the Ice Dragon Emperor. She suddenly commands him to freeze, and ice lashes out at him. The prince stammers, pointing to the thing on her wrist. It is the Orlesian family heir's loom. She smiles, praising his sharpness, and reveals that, as he guessed, the ring is called the Reversal Artifact. It allows its user to change their body to the opposite gender. He murmurs, why does she have that? She wonders what is with that reaction. She replies, no special reason. In order to become a mercenary knight that helps people. This form was more suitable, that if she became one as Letitia, her mother would have cried endlessly. She would have argued that she's a girl. Why would she want to do such reckless things? Gilbert wavers in dilemma. Didn't she claim she wasn't interested in her as the Belle Poupée? Yet now, does she prefer this form instead? The thought gnaws at him, complicating everything. Should he even be the husband? Before the doubt can settle, she lifts her hand and ice bursts forth, slamming everyone against the wall. She smiles faintly, surveying the room. What a splendid view. The man snaps, did she foresee their plan and disguise herself as the doll princess to infiltrate them? She laughs and says an interesting theory, but it cannot be more wrong. As they can see, both the Belle Poupée and the Ice Dragon Emperor are her, Letitia. She just used an artifact to alter her appearance a bit. The man mumbles she cannot just change her gender like that and asks if she was hiding it all this time. She replies there is not any deep meaning behind it. It seemed like Prince Gilbert's influence wasn't enough, so she stepped in. For brutes like them, she figured rather than social power, overpowering them with physical power would be more effective. That's all. She then demands just how thick-skulled can they be? Her husband went out of his way to protect the parlor. As his wife, of course she would assist him. Must he need any further explanation? The man stammers wife. She laughs and says she realizes calling herself his wife in this form is rather silly. She guesses she should undo it. She transforms back into her original form and tells him they should continue their talk now. Her mother feared she wouldn't be able to find a partner in marriage, and she was sick of her family's whining, so she kept that form hidden. But now that she has found herself a partner, she will be leaving the Orlshan family. She no longer has any reason to hide. She faces Gilbert and exclaims, "Will you marry me, my dear?" He lowers his gaze, burying his face in his hands, and mumbles if he's good enough for her, even with this curse. But she lifts his face and tells him those eyes are not a curse. They are beautiful. Calling something this beautiful a curse is in poor taste. She admits she heard about him from her father beforehand, and she did some of her own research too. But she preferred to make claims after she has seen it herself. And she has deeply fallen for him that a flicker of shock flashes in his eyes at her confession. She adds this is her just opinion, but that curse of his only hurts his ability to depend on others, and feeds his tendency to overthink things that he mumbles. She makes it sound so simple. She replies she wants to accept all of him. There's no need to shell in anymore and requests him to let her take care of him. She will do everything in her power to grant him happiness. He hesitates to answer, and she understands. It is a bit difficult for him to answer when she is being sudden like this, but tells him not to worry. Even if he won't let her at first, she will do whatever it takes to spoil him. Flustered, he repeats whatever it takes and blurts what does he mean. She smiles and mumbles who knows what shall she do, and then offers how about they find out how he wishes to be pampered together. He admits that's not a bad idea. Suddenly, the man pinned to the wall by ice mutters, "Can that not wait until later?" She replies unfortunately, she is too busy flirting with her husband. Could he keep his mouth shut in the meantime? Or would he prefer being frozen to death? She turns back to him and asks where were they? How about he tell her what he wishes for now? She insists anything's fine. Whatever he desires, whatever he wants to do, she wants him to say it. So she could make it real. His eyes drop again, sadness flickering through them. He takes her hand and mumbles, almost pleading, if she would pet him please. He wants her to praise him, tell him he belongs here and to call him a good boy. Pressing her hand in his, he begs again for her to pet his head and tell her he deserves to live. Ever since he was born, his eyes have been feared, forcing him into isolation. The cursed prince never received affection from anyone. What he desires more than anything else is love, and she cannot resist him. She murmurs how adorable. What endearing wishes. Dear Belle Poupée, I want to protect the delicate you. Countless men have said things like that. She would always respond with a cute smile. Ever the doll princess, the embodiment of fake. The true her doesn't have a shred of delicacy, nor does she wish to be protected. Instead, she would rather protect cute vulnerable boys. But during her time as the lonely Belle Poupée, she never thought she would ever find a husband who would accept her for all she is. It really is unbelievably cute. Warmth rushes through her, a fluttering, unfamiliar feeling she can't quite name. This lovey-dovey sensation makes her chest tighten, and she finds she cannot resist him. She pats his head gently, calling him a good boy. He has worked so hard. From this moment on, she resolves to share his pain and burdens. This is what it means to be a married couple, so he shouldn't treat annulment so lightly. She has made up her mind to protect him for the rest of her life, that he murmurs he will never annul their engagement, so please keep him by her side. She exclaims, of course, my dear. She will drown him in her love for eternity. She rises, facing the man with a playful glint in her eyes, and says she has a duty to spoil her dear husband, so she'll be ending things here quickly. He mutters in concern that they'll have no strength left to fight back, and wonders what else she plans to do, but she simply tells him to relax, assuring him she's only sending them to the Orlesian Duchy. Her father will be investigating today's matters. She suggests they cough up as much information as they can. She thinks to herself, if she left it to the Imperial Guards, it would be buried by the higher-ups and remain unresolved. Leaving the case to her father, Adolf, is the best decision. They may not discover the mastermind, but they will at least be able to narrow it down. The man, trapped in ice, finally asks how she intends to send them there. She lets out a laugh, calling it a dumb question. That's simple, she replies, and with a mere flick, they are hurled out the window. She remains standing, a satisfied smile on her face. She lifts Gilbert into her arms and asks if they shall go, thinking he should rest since he must be stressed. Glancing at Alicia, she asks if there's a vacant room behind that door. Gilbert stiffens, murmuring the room. And she realizes he has the wrong idea. That don't be scared, she says, and he blurts back that he's not. though he admits that while he does visit the parlor often, he has no experience in this. He drops his gaze, shy, and murmurs if she could be gentle he would appreciate it. She feels her heart soften, thinking he's unbearably adorable. She says when he's making that face, it's really tempting. But for now, she just wants to pamper him. She then adds, wouldn't it be better if they were in private? He quietly asks, so they won't do anything. She replies no, she is just pampering him. But his expectant face was amusing though. He blurts out no, that's not what this was. She teases he really is adorable. She turns to the girls and politely says they'll be taking a room for now and asks them to excuse them. The girls watch them with flustered faces. They were surprised to hear that Gilbert's fiancée was the belle Pepe, but it seems that won't be a problem. Alicia admits it is the first time she has seen the prince make that face. She is jealous of Sir Gilbert. Laura completely agrees. The next day in the garden, she flips through her notes, thinking this has become a bit troublesome. Just then, Gilbert appears and apologizes for keeping her waiting, that he says he baked some cookies for today's tea time, holding out a small tray. He tried to make them to her tastes, or at least, he hopes he did. She thanks him and exclaims she is looking forward to it, that he hesitates a moment before asking if anything is troubling her. She replies not really, just a letter from home. She will discuss it later. Right now, this is more important. He murmurs that is suspicious. Is he her number one? She laughs softly and kisses his temple. Of course he is. He flushes slightly, and she teases, is he still shy? That's what makes him adorable. But then his gaze softens, tinged with sadness, that he asks if he gets used to it. Will she dislike him? She replies impossible. If he gets used to it, she will just be even more forward with him. He jerks back, more than this. She just smiles, thinking how cute her husband is, simply too adorable. The two of them were no longer just fiancés. Now they were officially a married couple. It had been a few days since the founding day celebration when Gilbert went to the palace to explain an incident at the brothel. When he stepped into His Majesty's room, Duke Orlesian and his daughter were already there. His Majesty began to ask if he knew the Duke and his daughter, but before he could continue, Gilbert swiftly moved to hug Letitia, saying he had worked hard on his duty. She replied warmly, well done, such a good boy. The words hung in the air, and both His Majesty and the Duke exchanged stunned glances, frozen by the unexpected display. After a brief pause, they shook hands, the weight of the moment settling in as the marriage was formally finalized. And so within a week of their engagement, they became husband and wife. Now, with the dishes spread before her on the table, he explains that this one is a crisp, flavorful Florentine, and that one is a snowball cookie that simply melts in the mouth. The heart-shaped one has strawberry jam in the center, and that one is a chocolate chip cookie. He remembers she loves chocolate, so he even made chocolate-dipped ones that he asks her which one will she try first when she laughs. He hesitates, asking if he said something odd. She says no. It is just, didn't he say he preferred more mature and elegant women? He admits he did, that's true. But standing here in front of her now, none of that matters anymore. And he admits he was wrong about that. She smiles and tells him not to worry about it. She was pretending to be a cat too, though he doesn't think it was at the level of a cat. She suddenly grabs a cookie and pops it into her mouth. Gilbert frowns, protesting. He was going to feed her himself. Throwing his earlier words back at him, she smirks and says Laura shouldn't treat Letitia like a child. Surely she knows how to feed herself. He pouts, admitting, today she is being mean. She bursts into laughter, waving it off. She is just teasing him. Her laughter fades, and her tone turns more serious. By the way, she says, there's been a bit of a problem, and she might need to leave his side for a while. He admits that it's tough to hear, but if it is about her father, the Duke of Orlesian, and the rumors of his downfall, then it should be resolved soon. Looking surprised, she asks he noticed that he replies of course, the Orlesian family, known for secretly controlling the country, became relatives of the imperial family. This makes them a threat to those who want to get rid of the cursed Prince Gilbert. And those who want him gone will try to discredit her family from within. Maid steps forward, bowing slightly. Apologies for the interruption, but a letter has arrived for Lady Letitia. Letitia takes the letter, glancing at the seal, and sees it is from her father. Gilbert leans closer, asking, what does it say? She replies everything's fine now. He frowns, murmuring, if he doesn't trust himself, there's no point in making any moves openly. He must make sure no one realizes they are being manipulated, that he will make everyone dance in the palm of his hand. A peaceful resolution, right? He is good at strategy games. Honestly, Letitia admits, she knew he was sharp, but he is a frightening husband, that he replies he doesn't want even a single second of his time with her to be interrupted. He will do anything for that. He then teases she can compliment him more. She says, well done, he's such a good boy. He replies he is so happy he is melting. She teases, is he trying to make her a widow? Out of the blue, he suddenly calls her name and asks will she stay with him forever? Or has she started to hate him, or anything like that? But she replies, who else could make him as happy as he does? And the food he makes is incredibly delicious. She cannot be satisfied with anyone else now. Both her body and her heart cannot be separated from him. She turns to him and smiles, saying it is true that he has captured her heart through her stomach. He mumbles he's glad he didn't compromise and worked hard to improve his skills. He then says if she doesn't mind, he wants to continue making her food, just for her, that a person's body changes little by little every day. The skin, the blood, the muscles, and the bones too. He wants to be the one who shapes her with the things he creates. Always by her side. She laughs softly and murmurs her husband is truly adorable. But whether she will listen to him depends on the situation. She will make her best effort as well. Suddenly, something darts by, and her dragon springs after it, devouring it in a flash. She strokes the dragon, murmuring it's an attack. Seems quite a bit of magic was compressed there. To resort to force just because the covert approach failed. Turning to Gilbert, she says firmly she is by his side. Trying to attack her with such childish tricks is naive. She swears she will protect him with her life. She leans in closer, telling him not to worry and not to be afraid. She will always be by his side. He smiles, eyes full of warmth and love. She adds, as his wife, she will honor all his wishes and thoughts and do everything to make them come true. If he wishes to reign as emperor, she will help him achieve it. But she doubts that is something he wants. That he admits she is right. He thinks he would prefer a simple life in a small house with her. She giggles and says that seems harder than sitting on a throne. But it is not that bad, and asks him will she stay by her side until the end. That he meets her gaze with unwavering confidence, replying that even beyond death, he wishes to remain by her side. She laughs, saying that's heavy, my dear, but that's what makes him so lovable. To others, it might seem like their future is full of obstacles. However, with Letitia's strength and Gilbert's intellect, they will complement each other's weaknesses and overcome all obstacles and live happily together. This is the story of a newlywed couple. Good morning, Gilbert. Good night, Gilbert. How are you, Gilbert? Such simple greetings, and yet they saved him countless times. He was the only person who treated him as just another human being. Because of him, he was able to keep moving forward. Because of him, he was able to hold on to himself. Because of him, he didn't fall into hatred for this world. And now he has been blessed with more happiness than he can hold in his hands. He thanks him. No matter how much he expresses his gratitude, it will never be enough. That it's painful to know that he may never have the chance to tell him this in person. They receive a letter for the Crown Prince Christoph celebration party. Letitia admits she has met him before, but they've never really had a proper conversation. Gilbert apologizes for dragging her into this. But she asks him what is he saying. His Highness is Gilbert's elder brother, that it's only natural for her, as his wife, to attend. Christoph Rossmann, the next heir to the throne and Gilbert's half-brother. Today, a grand party is being held to celebrate his remarkable achievements. But she must say, having this during dinner time is a bit unfortunate. She's already missing Gilbert's home-cooked meals. Gilbert smiles and promises once they get back, he will make plenty of her favorite dishes. But then a man calls out to Gilbert and says His Majesty the Emperor is calling for him. Gilbert says right now, cannot it wait, that he cannot leave his wife alone. But the man insists His Majesty is saying that it's urgent. She tugs on his sleeve and says it is all right, he can go to His Majesty. When she hesitates, she pulls him closer and whispers it's okay. She will be a good girl and wait for her husband to return. He smiles and says understood, he will be back soon. Later, seated before His Majesty, his red eyes sharp and unyielding, he asks so, what is it that he wishes to discuss with him? On a day like this, instead of calling for Prince Christoph, he specifically wanted to see him. He has to question his judgment. He also claims he has already repaid his debt to His Majesty more than sufficiently. His Majesty finally speaks, telling him not to be too harsh. He says with all due respect, this is a day of celebration. Shouldn't he be at the party? His Majesty replies every year His Empress gets so enthusiastic, so it is sure to be a dazzling affair. Gilbert says in that case, shouldn't they hurry up? But His Majesty counters, isn't it precisely because of a day like this? The brighter the light, the darker the shadows. While everyone's attention is on Kristoff's achievements, it is the perfect time to discuss certain unpleasant matters. Gilbert groans inwardly, sensing a real pain, and rises, saying he refuses. He wants to return to his wife as quickly as possible. But His Majesty calls after him, urging him to wait, saying they need his intellect for this. He presents a blank page marked with AV and asks if Gilbert is aware of the matter. Gilbert guesses it involves the magic stones and the Vice Republic. His Majesty says so he does know. Gilbert replies it's hardly something worth keeping secret. Magic stones. As the name suggests, they are stones infused with magical powers. Normally, they're used to enrich people's daily lives. But they are also a crucial material for crafting weapons of war. Incidentally, Letitia's reversal magical tool is a rare type of stone. Unlike simple tools that create fire or water, magic tools have intricate spells caved into them, allowing them to cause special phenomena. Due to their rarity, such stones are classified separately and called magic tools. For the people of this world, magic stones are an essential resource. The Rossmann Empire is one of the world's top producers of magic stones, and right now that is becoming a problem. It all started with a rumor that the Vice Republic was planning to start a war with a neighboring country. In response, an international conference was held, and it was decided that all exports of magic stones to Weiss would be banned. However, it appears that some nation is secretly violating the treaty and smuggling magic stones to Weiss. And now the Rossmann Empire, with its abundant supply of magic stones, is under suspicion. In short, His Majesty wants Gilbert to come up with a way to prove their innocence, that he says proving they didn't do anything. It's like proving the doesn't exist, and suggests rather than wasting effort on that, why not simply earn the unwavering trust of the other nations himself? But His Majesty states this isn't as simple as he thinks. Gilbert flips through the pages and comes across an investigation report. There is a high possibility that the ones attempting to smuggle magic stones are not external enemies, but individuals within the Rossmann Empire. His Majesty says the smuggling hasn't happened yet, but if they fail to stop it, the consequences will be severe. If they lend a large-scale investigation, the culprits will flee. And since the prime suspects are within their own ranks, the number of people they can truly trust with this matter is extremely limited. His Majesty pleads with his son, insisting he needs his help. Gilbert ends up laughing, saying he dares speak of trust, asking him, the cursed prince, to handle something so critical, he who is said to be the most capable of bringing ruin to the nation. His Majesty suddenly smiles and says, and here he is, enjoying his blissful newlywed life with Lady Letitia, that if there were even the slightest chance of him betraying the Empire, the only possible explanation would be that she's the one who manipulated him. Gilbert snaps, what did he just say? His father ignores his reaction and continues, but given her personality, that's impossible, that if she had any grievance against the Empire, she wouldn't resort to such underhanded methods. She would fight head-on, fair and square, the woman he chose as his wife. She is straightforward, strong-willed and full of life, isn't she? With a hint of pride in his eyes, Gilbert replies that's right, that he thinks she's the most incredible, most magnificent woman in the world. His Majesty then slides more papers toward him, saying these list the potential suspects they have identified. Gilbert examines the papers thoroughly, saying he cannot say with certainty that the culprit is among them, though he sees potential leads that he gives his word to investigate, adding that if he feels inclined, he might even tie a rope around the traitor's neck and present them as a gift. His Majesty praises this as a great help, but Gilbert smirks, telling him not to get his hopes up. His Majesty is left stunned as Gilbert departs, leaving all the documents behind, though it likely doesn't matter, as Gilbert probably memorized everything at a single glance, as expected of the cursed red eyes, that unparalleled intellect, that he spent years wondering how to deal with a child born with those eyes. But now that he has Letitia to keep him grounded, there's no one more reliable. Since their marriage, Gilbert has devoted himself to his official duties, making immense contributions to the Empire's stability. His Majesty knows it is likely that everything he does is just to ensure a peaceful and secure life with Letitia. He really has changed. He may not feel like a father to him, but those eyes, they are so breathtakingly beautiful it sends chills down his spine, that a gaze that ensnares all who look upon it almost otherworldly. He never used to make expressions like that. He wonders what kind of life he leads with Letitia, but quickly reminds himself he shouldn't dwell on it. And that concludes the video today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want another part. At one of the parties, all eyes are on her. She keeps her usual polite smile, acting calm and graceful. A waiter comes over and offers her a drink. She thanks him with a smile and he blushes, saying she can ask him if she needs anything, that she's doing a good job keeping up the act. Still, she finds it tiring to keep playing the part of the Belle of Popeye. After that day in the royal court, when she fought so fiercely, she thought the truth about the Ice Dragon Emperor would spread on its own. But later she found out that Gilbert and her father, Adolphe, worked hard to silence every rumor. A few people mentioned it, but others only laughed it off. Because of that, only a handful know the truth, that the Ice Dragon Emperor is actually Letitia. She once thought she could finally set aside the mask of the Belle of Popeye. But in the end, it was more convenient for everyone if the world believed Letitia and the Ice Dragon Emperor were two different people. When her father explained it that way, she could only agree. Besides, she can't deny a certain satisfaction in watching Gilbert gleeful smiles he wears whenever he's scheming. That expression is something she would never want to miss. Her thoughts scatter when the Crown Prince, standing at the top of the staircase before the crowd, begins to speak on behalf of Her Majesty, Empress Morgan. He thanks everyone for attending the evening celebration. Tonight's gathering, he announces, is held in honor of the Crown Prince's return, for not long ago, Kristoff was thought to be dead. She still remembers clearly the shock and sorrow that swept across the kingdom that day. The rain hadn't stopped from morning till night. On his way back from a meeting, Crown Prince Kristoff had been traveling through a dangerous mountain road when the ground suddenly gave way beneath him, sending him tumbling down the cliff. Everyone believed there was no chance of survival. Even after 2 separate investigations, not a single trace of his body was found. Eventually, the search was called off, and the kingdom mourned his loss. But 6 months later, Kristoff returned at first. Many suspected an imposter, yet his face, his voice, and even his smallest gestures were unmistakably his. To silence the rumors once and for all, Empress Morgan personally confirmed that this was indeed her son. Though he carried some scars from the accident, leaving his expression slightly stiff, he was otherwise in good health. From then on, people began calling him Kristoff the Immortal. Tonight's celebration marks 1 year since his return. For the kingdom, and especially for Gilbert, his survival was a stroke of fortune. The emperor had only 3 sons, Kristoff, Gilbert, and the youngest. If Kristoff had truly died, Gilbert would have been next in line for the throne. But no one wanted that. Many whispered that if the cursed prince ever became emperor, the nation would fall into ruin. Letitia herself once overheard such murmurs. Yet, no one had the grounds to strip Gilbert of his title. Around that same time, he narrowly survived a poisoning attempt. She knows her husband hides a sharp mind behind that ever-perfect smile. She is certain he understands well the hostility directed at him. The very people who once claimed he was essential to the kingdom are the same ones secretly wishing for his downfall. The fact that he hasn't shattered under such contradiction feels like nothing short of a miracle. Had Crown Prince Kristoff never returned, Gilbert might have been crushed by the unbearable pressure. Perhaps he would have turned against the very nation he served, and if that had happened, she might have had to face him on the battlefield herself. But that future no longer exists. She will make sure, more than anyone else, that he finds happiness in this one. That her thoughts abruptly end when a man approaches and greets her, asking how she is this evening. She looks up, recognizing him as Roland, the eldest son of the Oswell family, known throughout the kingdom for their skill in processing magic stones. She remembers him as a quiet and timid man, yet tonight he seems completely different. His posture is confident, his expression calm. With an easy smile, he remarks that the famous Belle of Popeye stands all alone and asks where Prince Gilbert might be. Letitia answers that he had prior engagements but will return shortly. Roland responds with a pleasant tone, saying that in the meantime, he would be honored to keep her company until the prince arrives. She knows he once harbored feelings for her, and it surprises her that he still dares to approach her now that she belongs to another. To men like him, she is nothing more than a fragile, beautiful doll, an illusion shaped to their liking. Yet she is Gilbert's wife, and she would prefer that Roland forget about her entirely. Suddenly, someone in the crowd murmurs, "Isn't that Empress Morgan?" Letitia instinctively flinches, but another voice quickly argues that it must be a mistake since the Empress is absent due to poor health. Even so, the mere mention of her name stirs something cold within Letitia. She has never liked Empress Morgan. Since marrying Gilbert, she has met the Empress several times, and she will never forget the icy way those eyes measured her, as if weighing her value like an object. Letitia had always felt that if she revealed even the slightest weakness, the Empress would tear out her throat without hesitation. And now, with the second prince's rapid success drawing attention, the Empress must surely be irritated. Letitia would rather not engage in a battle of wits with her. That kind of fight has never been her style. She looks up and finds Roland staring at her. She had almost forgotten about him. Roland comments that he couldn't help but notice she hasn't eaten or drunk anything since the party began. Letitia blinks, slightly surprised. Has he been watching her the entire time? All of this is for Gilbert's sake. She wants to grant his wish, to enjoy a meal her husband prepared himself, to sit beside him and watch that gentle smile she adores. Truly, there is no greater luxury than that. She answers lightly that her heart is already full, and inwardly smirks at her own quick thinking that how's that for a perfect excuse? Most people would know what it means. But suddenly Roland snaps, his tone sharper. He demands to know if it's true that Prince Gilbert forbidden her from eating. He won't eat himself, so he forces his wife to starve too. How cruel. Letitia opens her mouth to deny it, but he cuts her off, his voice rising enough to draw curious glances from nearby guests. He insists that ever since her marriage, she has refused to eat at social gatherings. There's no poison to fear here, he says bitterly, so what could her reason be? He grumbles that this isn't love, it's obsession, nothing less than possession. But then he freezes. Her expression is blank, yet there's something unnerving in the way her eyes remain blank. He feels a chill crawl down his spine. Letitia watches him quietly, thinking how far his delusions have gone. She has endured enough. Before she can speak, a smooth voice cuts through the tension. How Saswell seems to raise its men quite liberally, he sees. Gilbert steps forward, placing himself effortlessly at her side. His tone is almost casual. Even a dog in heat shows more restraint than him. How shameless. Roland's face twists, and he snaps. What exactly is he implying? He only approached because she seemed lonely. Oh, really? Gilbert's voice drops, his gaze hardening. If he is unaware of how he appears, perhaps he should carry a mirror. He leans closer, a finger under his jaw as he tells him to look at his own face, his expression. Then he will see what everyone else does before he starts drooling. Roland stiffens and grits out, what does he mean by that? Gilbert retorts, does he have to spell it out for him? He's drooling that he's lusting after another man's wife. He's prepared to face the consequences, isn't he? Letitia sighs inwardly. He's really fanning the flames now. Is he planning to start a campfire in the middle of the ballroom? As satisfying as this is to watch, perhaps this isn't the best place for it. A firm voice cuts through the tension, declaring that such behavior is unacceptable at a celebration, and Letitia instantly recognizes it. It is Duke Ivis. His family is famed for its strict moral conduct and deep involvement in the nation's judiciary, though behind that reputation lies a web of questionable dealings. The Orlesian family is always surrounded by shady rumors, and her father, Adolphe, is no exception. The two do not get along. Gilbert's expression hardens as he retorts that the man in question was making inappropriate advances toward his wife, and it is only natural to warn him and remind him of his place. The Duke replies that if the man agrees to keep his distance, they should consider the matter settled. But before peace can return, Roland steps forward, apologizing for his earlier tone, yet insisting that there is an important issue to clarify: Lady Letitia's health. The Duke gestures for him to continue, and Roland reminds him of the rumor that ever since Letitia married the prince, she has refused to eat at any social gathering, that if this is truly by Gilbert's command, he demands that it be revoked immediately, arguing that with such a delicate body, she may collapse at any moment. Letitia inwardly scoffs, wondering if she truly looks that weak that she would faint from skipping a single meal. How insulting. Her gaze shifts to Gilbert and tension flickers in his eyes. Roland presses on, pointing at him and declaring that forcing love onto someone one-sidedly is nothing short of disgrace. Gilbert's patience snaps as he warns him not to jump to conclusions, but Roland smirks, asking if he plans to drag Letitia into his curse this time. Letitia blinks in confusion, wondering what he means by this time, while Gilbert's face turns pale. Whispers ripple through the nobles as silence descends, and she realizes that Gilbert, who never bows to anyone, is being eaten away by a single word: curse, an old wound that refuses to heal, tearing deeper with every whisper. Rage burns in her chest. She wants to summon an ice dragon to freeze their gossiping mouths shut, but she restrains herself that if she causes a scene, it will only hurt Gilbert's name. The law is supposed to be fair and just, not twisted by rumors. What they need is not noise, but truth, and she will show them the truth in her own way as Belle. She steps forward and bows to the Duke, apologizing and saying the fault is hers, that she should have explained things better. Roland protests that it is not her fault, but she ignores him, clutching Gilbert's sleeve and saying this is her choice alone, that he need not worry, because she has simply become someone who cannot be satisfied unless she eats the food her dear husband prepares. The crowd watches, stunned, as Gilbert turns to her. When she opens her arms, he immediately lifts her effortlessly into his arms. She leans close to whisper in his ear that she is sorry for causing trouble. He says softly that this is no trouble at all. What matters more is whether she has grown tired of him. But before he can say another word, she presses a finger gently against his lips and tells him that being able to eat a meal prepared with love by her dear husband while looking at his face, if there exists a greater happiness than that, she does not know it. That a little hunger is merely another spice. Then she rests her head on his shoulder, her gaze locking with his as though the entire world has vanished, leaving only the two of them suspended in that quiet, perfect moment. Gilbert tells her softly that he loves her and that she loves her dear husband as well. Roland looks utterly horrified by their open exchange, while the noble women around them break into delighted murmurs, gushing over how romantic the two are. The Duke lets out a long sigh and admits that he may have spoken out of turn, offering his apology. Letitia responds calmly that as long as he understands, there is no problem. The Duke remarks that he understands completely and that it is truly heartwarming to witness such genuine affection between husband and wife. Originally, Letitia had intended to make a heartfelt speech to prove her devotion to Gilbert, but now she realizes words are unnecessary. Their actions alone have silenced every doubt. As they prepare to leave, Gilbert approaches his brother and wishes him continued success with polite composure. Letitia glances around, noticing that the atmosphere in the hall has finally settled back into normalcy. The Crown Prince's dignified presence must have played a role, she thinks, yet she can't shake the feeling that his silence throughout the commotion was deliberate, as if he had purposely let the Duke handle the entire affair. Gilbert effortlessly lifts her into his arms, his smile soft and full of mischief. He asks if they should head home now, adding that tonight's dinner will be prepared with even more love than usual. Watching the warmth in his eyes, Letitia feels her heart melt. She wonders if he realizes how dangerous his choice of words can be when he says things like that. Wrapping her arms around him, she leans closer and whispers that perhaps he should be a little more mindful of their surroundings. Gilbert only chuckles and replies that he sees no reason to care about the eyes of others when he is speaking of his love for his wife, or that if she thinks he would ever be distracted by another woman. As they walk away, Roland watches them go, his face twisting with something dark and unreadable. A strange heaviness lingers in the air, brushing against Letitia's senses. Gilbert immediately notices the shift in her demeanor and asks quietly what's wrong. She replies it's nothing. Yet, as they move forward, her eyes wander toward the Crown Prince. She wonders what was that feeling just now. She watches him sleep, his breathing calm and steady. He's sleeping so soundly. She thinks that no wonder. He has been working himself to exhaustion lately. Her father had mentioned in a recent letter that suspicious dealings were taking place behind closed doors, and of course, her brilliant husband would be the one tasked with uncovering them. If he has been handling that on top of his regular duties, it must have worn him down considerably that as much as she tells him not to push himself too hard, she knows he never listens. He works tirelessly just to carve out time they can spend together. As his wife, she ought to worry about his health, but denying the devotion behind his effort feels impossible. True to his promise, he has finally managed to secure 3 entire days without work. She then notices he is not waking up, that's fine. She doesn't mind lying there and watching his serene face. Still, her fingers itch to touch him. She leans close and whispers that she would love to see those gorgeous eyes of his. Her hand grazes his cheek as she quietly asks if he can hear her. His lashes flutter open slowly. She greets him softly, saying it is morning. He blinks groggily and asks what time it is. She replies it is around noon. He jolts upright, eyes wide. He glances toward the window, confirming the sunlight streaming in. With a groan, he covers his face with a pillow and mumbles that she had been watching him while he slept, calling her a lecherous woman. She struggles to hold back a smile, torn between reason and desire. She tells herself to stay composed. Her dear Gilbert has become even more magnetic lately, his charm blooming like a spell she cannot resist. Whenever he calls her name in that warm, low voice, women nearby always turn to look, drawn to the affection that drips from his tone. He knows exactly how to sway her, hungry for love and entirely unashamed of it. She looks at him, amused, and says he truly is a handful. He takes her hand, eyes glinting with amusement, and remarks that she loves him because of that. She laughs softly and answers that she does. To be precise, she loves every single thing about Gilbert. The simple act of staying by his side and sharing the same air satisfies her. She looks up at him and says she cannot seem to hide anything from him. Can she? Her hand drifts to his chest, and she flexes her fingers slightly, noticing the firmness beneath her palm. He has definitely gained muscle. He remarks that he wouldn't be much of a husband if he simply basked in her affection without putting in any effort of his own. He intends to do his part. She asks if that explains his newfound obsession with exercise. Now that she thinks about it, he did lift her rather effortlessly at the party. He says he doesn't do it for combat, but for the aesthetic. With a playful smirk, he tugs at his shirt, revealing the defined lines of his abs. He tells her to look. He's been tempering his body just for her. Every inch of him is hers to do with as she pleases. Heat instantly floods her cheeks. Who on earth is teaching him these things? Or worse, did he come up with that on his own? That's even more dangerous. Her restraint snaps for a moment, but she forces herself to regain composure. She silently claims only she could survive such temptation. Anyone else would have surrendered by now. She narrows her eyes and asks if he's testing her. He chuckles, saying he can see her gaze faltering. That alone means victory. She pouts, insisting she'll just have to delay her own advances. The law of the land permits marriage at 15, but anything beyond that must wait until both are at least 17. Gilbert mutters that it's hard to believe she isn't already 17. He was sure there had been some mistake. At least, he adds, that gives him time to keep working on his physique, that he will continue until her birthday, and she should try to hold out until then. Her whole body trembles with suppressed frustration before she snaps at him. He only laughs, asking if her heart is racing. Can he call that his win? She mumbles that yes, he can. She's lost, utterly and completely. But her grin returns, sharp and dangerous, as she warns that losing the battle doesn't mean losing the war, that in one swift move. She shoves him onto the bed and tilts his chin upward with a finger. Her voice drops low as she tells him he's a clever boy. Surely he knows where this is going. In fact, she takes back her earlier words. What sort of woman would she be if she withheld her own appeals? He looks momentarily alarmed and blurts out an apology, saying he got carried away. But she leans in, brushing against him with a wicked smile. Her breath warms his skin as she murmurs, what does he think now? What was it he said earlier? Every square inch was hers to do with as she wished. His face reddens as he quietly says he did say that. She teases then simply touching him shouldn't be a problem. He should forgive his thoughtless wife for missing his open invitation. Now she will spoil him like she has never before as he did offer every square inch. He breathes that wasn't really what he meant. She watches him struggling and smirks thinking she wants to drown him in joy, to love him until his face drains with tears. She has never felt like this before, but they cannot. Sad as she is to say, this is as far as they can go. Later, they lie tangled in each other's arms, his hold firm and unyielding. She whispers softly into his chest, asking if she upset him, if she might have gone too far. But he only murmurs no. When she repeats it, confused, his face turns flushed as he admits that if they had gone any further, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. Her surprise melts into quiet amusement. How can any man be so impossibly adorable? He blurts again that she hasn't upset him, that he isn't angry, it's just that they can't go beyond this. She tells him to relax, teasing that she was merely admiring his lovely face. That only makes him glance at her nervously and ask if she thinks he's pathetic. She hugs him tighter, whispering that she could never think that, not in this lifetime or the next. Still, she warns with a playful glint that he better brace himself for the day she turns 17, that all his teasing and provocation are only feeding the storm of affection that's waiting to sweep him away. He hesitates before softly asking her to be gentle with him, and she nearly laughs, not happening, but aggravating his unease would make her a sorry wife indeed. Still, If he insists on being so shy, she won't let him have the luxury of waiting, telling him he will just have to hope her reason wins out. The thought of watching Gilbert unravel as she peels away each careful layer sends a shiver of anticipation through her. Though for now she is content to simply laze beside her dear husband, pampering him in quiet affection, thinking what a fine day this is. A loud crash echoes through the hall. Her eyes sharpen as she realizes the impact struck against the magic barrier she set around their home, and there's only one person reckless enough to do that. With a sigh, she rises and tells him with a wry smile to forgive her family's little pet for his antics before stepping outside, where a disheveled falcon stands amid smoke and debris. She reminds him she has told him countless times, the walls around our bedroom are sealed. Is he ever going to take that to heart? Falcon's eyes glisten, tears welling from the impact as he cries for her not to make the barriers so strong, to which she retorts that he is precisely the reason they have to be that sturdy. Falcon, a spy serving the Orlesian house, had been assigned by Adolphe Orlesian to work under Letitia and by extension Gilbert. His exceptional infiltration skills and mastery of presence masking made him the finest agent at the family's command. Through telepathy magic, he could communicate directly with those who had exchanged mana with him beforehand. When Letitia returns to her room, Gilbert looks up and asks if it was Falcon. Upon hearing her confirmation, he frowns and mutters that Falcon was supposed to report back to him. Why isn't he here yet? Did something happen? Letitia assures him he's fine, explaining that the spy simply isn't present because they're not quite decent yet. She begins buttoning up Gilbert's shirt. Thinking she's done all she can, though what to do about his face is another matter entirely, that he promptly slaps his own cheeks and declares he's fine, ready, and awake, thanking her earnestly. She mumbles there's no need for thanks, she did it for both of their sakes. Gilbert thinks he cannot afford to look like a mess, even if it is just Falcon. Gilbert steps out and apologizes to Falcon for the delay, but the spy is still hung up on her earlier words. The barriers are supposed to keep him out. He asks, looking wounded. Letitia tells him to relax. It isn't that she doesn't trust him, but he is a little scatterbrained, and the finer points of decorum often escape him. Besides, he should already know she has no intention of sharing Gilbert with anyone else. Falcon mumbles something about emergencies, and she replies that in such cases, he's to report to her first. She assures him she has complete faith in his abilities as a spy. She's certain he won't ever bungle his work so dramatically. Properly chastised, he bows his head and says she can keep the barriers up, earning a satisfied nod from her as she tells him she's glad he's learned his lesson. She's always considered her open and honest nature a point of pride, yet when it comes to her husband, even she can't shake her possessive instincts. The moment she says it aloud, Gilbert's cheeks flush bright red, while Falcon nearly groans and pleads for her to stop sharing such details. He promises he's heard her loud and clear and swears that even if things go south, he won't drop in on her unannounced. Such a good boy, she murmurs teasingly, and Falcon looks traumatized, begging her not to whisper like that. She's dangerous enough even without entering her Draco Emperor mode. Rising to his feet, he sighs and admits he never knew she felt that way, though he offers one final piece of advice. Perhaps she should rein it in a little. Laying it on that thick is a bit of a turn-off. He turns to Gilbert and says, right, but Gilbert says he calls that heavy. It seems rather light to him. If anything, he would prefer to be bound as tightly as possible to ensure he never lays eyes on any, but heard that if she told him she was keeping him under house arrest, he would simply say yes, please. Falcon is totally dumbfounded by his answer. Gilbert says he would be happy to explain the joys of which he speaks if he has time. He's too quick to say no. It's really fine. Letitia watches, thinking the way Falcon addresses him. One would never think he was a spy reporting back to a prince. As he was originally an orphan, he grew up quite spoiled by her father once house, Orlesian had taken him in. But the fact that he's so simple and not at all two-faced, the two of them act like best friends. She has no doubt the crown prince will take Falcon in without issue. Her father had always spoken highly of Gilbert, especially after that failed scheme against him. It pleases her as his daughter to hear such words, though she would much prefer that her father refrain from using their connections for anything underhanded. Falcon then calls out to his bird, and a sleek, dark-feathered creature swoops down from above, landing neatly on Gilbert's shoulder. He has got a report, he says briskly. That's why he is here. The bird leans close and murmurs something directly into Gilbert's ear. Letitia watches, captivated as always, and remarks that she never ceases to be amazed by his magic. Falcon scratches the back of his head, a faint blush rising to his cheeks as he stammers that her praise is much appreciated. He then explains that might look like normal chirping, but that is actually a magic recording. Prince is hearing those two old geezers gapping it up. She murmurs, and just like that, it is no longer cute. Letitia's ice dragons are creatures made for war, and falcon sparrows are specialized for recording in start. They can record entire conversations just by eavesdropping. The sparrows can record visually too, but a sparrow sticking its head through a wall would be considered a bit suspicious. More trouble than it's worth. But the tone of one's voice betrays a great deal of what they are thinking. An exact recording like this will reveal everything to Gilbert. Once this sparrow is done telling everything, Gilbert settles down on his bed, looking worried. He suddenly says it would be best to act now, that he also says to Letitia he's trying to give her as much time as he can. But this thing will take at least a full day. A small smile touches her lips, knows Gilbert won't tell her about what is really his current assignment. She waves his concern and asks what about him. She tells him she doesn't want him overworking himself again. He gives her a faint smile and says he's perfectly fine, though she gives him so many problems that he really ought to step up and take responsibility for them, that he starts to say something more but pauses midway, deciding against it with a quiet never mind. Turning to Faucon, he changes the subject and requests 3 sparrows. Faucon blinks and asks who they're for. Gilbert replies easily, chirp for His Majesty, chirps for Alicia, and chirp chirp for Sir Adolphe. Letitia stares at him, utterly baffled by the absurdly cute names. She admits she certainly wouldn't have expected such endearing names from Faucon, but Faucon quickly clears his throat and admits the truth. He didn't name them, Gilbert did. Her lips part in surprise, forming a small Gilbert chuckles, and explains that Faucon had originally labeled them number 1, number 2, and so on, which seemed like a waste to him. As she watches her husband surrounded by the cheerful little birds, Letitia can't help but think what a darling man he is, draped in darling animals. Then it hits her. She herself calls her dragon familiars number 1, number 2, and number 3 that she realizes she's no better than Faucon. Perhaps it's time she comes up with proper names for them too. She then says it seems it's going to be an important message, that he replies no, they are only going to be backup. He extends the main letter to Faucon and instructs him to deliver it to the commanding officer of the State Inquiry Agency Leon. Leon or Legion, commanding officer of the State Inquiry Agency's noble branch, and Letitia's elder brother, is a man whose name carries both weight and restraint. The agency itself operates under the Emperor's direct command, charged with upholding order across the Empire and empowered to investigate anyone, even the Emperor himself. To balance such immense authority, it was divided into 2 branches, each overseeing separate spheres of influence. Leon leads the noble branch with the precision of a blade, earning the trust of countless aristocrats for his integrity and unshakable sense of duty. Yet, in recent times, an attempt to undermine House or Legion's standing has cast shadows over his once iron reputation. Letitia wonders what is going through Gilbert's mind. He catches her gaze and winks at her. Faucon, on the other hand, looks utterly horrified at the mere thought of involving Leon in any of this. His voice cracks as he stammers, asking what exactly Gilbert is plotting. Gilbert only tilts his head, wearing an almost cherubic expression as he replies that it's nothing serious, just a little tip-off, perhaps. Faucon's panic deepens, and Gilbert can't help but burst into laughter at his reaction. This is going to be interesting. After Faucon leaves, Gilbert turns to Letitia, eyes glinting with mischief, as he suggests they take some time to relax. She hesitates, asking if he is sure, and he assures her he is. He has already taken the day off, and it would be a shame to let it go to waste. When she quietly asks if there is any way she can help, the question catches him off guard, that he asks if she is worried about him, and she answers that of course she is. A faint smile touches his lips as he tells her she already gives him more strength than she realizes, mental, emotional, and even physical, but this time, he needs her to trust him to handle it. Her expression falls, and when he asks if that bothers her, she admits it does. Knowing her husband can depend on her is a joy for a wife. She points out that he already relies on her father and Faucon. Is there truly nothing she can do? He gives her a soft smile, making her ponder if a smile is all he has for her. She finally relents, saying she will do as he says, but adds that her ice dragons will continue to escort him. He concedes with a soft laugh, takes her hand, and murmurs that knowing she is the one protecting him allows him to rest peacefully, that if ever he finds the cards in his hand insufficient, He promises he will count on her and not push himself. Then, resting her hand against his cheek, he closes his eyes, his smile lingering like a quiet vow. He drops a kiss on her knuckles before leaving to prepare a light meal. Her dear husband, so desperate to be loved, can be rather cunning, and at times, utterly bewildering. Letitia doesn't believe he has uttered a single falsehood, yet something about his words unsettles her. If he needs help, she wants to offer it, but perhaps that's selfish. After all, they are married, and she only wishes he would rely on his wife a little more. When he speaks of causing trouble, she suspects he means the Orlesian family's weakened standing, the very scandal their marriage set in motion. He blames himself for it, and even now, he's sending the results of his investigation to Leon so that her brother can take credit and restore the family's reputation. She has pieced that much together, but what exactly is he investigating? If it's something worthy of the State Inquiry Agency's attention, then it must be grave enough to shake the country's already fragile foundations. The strength of the Draco Ice Emperor would surely help resolve it, yet he refuses to rely on her. It can't be that he doesn't trust her, can it? Their marriage is going smoothly, they love each other, and yet his heart feels distant, more so since Kristoff's celebration party. She wishes to draw closer, but every attempt slips through her fingers, and the thought alone is maddening. Just as she had warned, the little time they had left together slowly dwindled away, that a group of beasts she had been assigned to deal with vanished overnight. It's troubling, but Father assures her the matter is under investigation and insists she stay uninvolved. She had planned to spend today working as the Draco Emperor, yet now she finds herself with an excess of free time. Perhaps she should train, but instead, her feet carry her to the library. If Gilbert will not on her strength, then she will earn his trust another way. Knowledge, she decides, will be her weapon. The heart of the Empire holds countless volumes, many she's already read, but she's determined to study anything and everything. That, she thinks, will be the key to becoming someone he can rely on. Spotting a book high on the shelf, she stretches for it, but it's just out of reach. She glances around, and with no one in sight, she transforms into the Ice Emperor. Her towering form easily retrieves every book she wants. Long legs have their advantages. Later, tucked away in a quiet corner of the library, Letitia immerses herself in her books. The air's still until the door creaks open, and the maid steps in. Letitia recognizes her at once as one of Empress Mogan's attendants. When the woman lingers nearby, Letitia asks politely if she's looking for something. Since she has some of the books, and if she needs one of them, she will happily give it to her. The maid replies that she needs the third book from the top. Letitia hands it over to her. The maid accepts the book with a bow, but doesn't leave. Letitia asks if there's something else. The maid says she's merely impressed. She hadn't expected to find her ladyship reading, not with all the rumors circulating about Lord Gilbert. Truly, she is a belle pape. Letitia's expression remains composed, though her mind sharpens. Rumors? She asks lightly what kind. The maid feigns innocence, saying she couldn't possibly repeat them. She would never dare speak treason against her lord. And yet your tongue cuts fine enough without saying a word, Letitia thinks. The tone of a single maid is unimportant, but rumors spreading through the court are another matter entirely. Perhaps she should have fucking looked into this. The maid then offers to put the books back, insisting it wouldn't do for Letitia to herself. Now that, Letitia muses, is a professional, dutiful despite that rotten attitude. The maid climbs a step stool to return a volume, and Letitia notices too late that the stool looks unstable. She hadn't realized before, having used her Draco Emperor form, that what's a faulty thing like that doing here? She tells the maid to be careful. The woman insists it's fine old, but still usable. The words barely leave her mouth before the stool gives way with a crack. Letitia moves instinctively, catching her just before she falls. Their faces are close, the maid's eyes wide, her cheeks blooming with sudden color. Letitia, misreading the flush, asks again if she's hurt. The maid stammers that she's fine, though her voice trembles for an entirely different reason. Letitia leans closer, murmuring that she couldn't bear it if the maid were hurt on her account, but her eyes widen mid-sentence as she realizes her mask is slipping. Swiftly, she pulls the maid slightly down, plastering on the poised, perfect smile of Belle, and wonders if that covers her small lapse. The maid, cheeks flushed, murmurs her thanks, clearly flustered. Letitia crouches to check her ankle, which thankfully seems uninjured, and smiles, saying that's what matters most, and it's a shame about the broken stool. The maid promises she will report the mishap properly. Letitia thinks to herself that any animosity the maid had felt toward her has all but vanished, and decides it's time to take her leave before her mask falters further. But as she moves, the maid calls after her, offering to share the rumors circulating if she wishes. Letitia pauses, turning and asks she would. The maid quickly brightens and exclaims, yes, of course, she'll tell her everything she wants to hear. The maid is reminding Letitia of how the maids at her house acted. She wants to hear anything regarding Gilbert as soon as she possibly can. She knows him well enough to understand that he would never ask for assistance until every other option had been exhausted, and she has no desire to discover complications too late, after consequences have already begun to unfold. She encourages the maid to go on. The maid leans closer, speaking in a hushed whisper that it's really just rumors. She can't guarantee any of it is true, but the word going around is Lord Gilbert is scheming something that could shake the empire to its very foundations. Letitia considers this thoughtfully, weighing the maid's words. Judging by his actions alone, Gilbert is clearly in the middle of investigating some kind of scheme, so why would anyone frame him as the mastermind? Perhaps the true culprit is trying to cast suspicion on the cursed prince to cover their own involvement, that if that is indeed the plan, it is far from a clever one. His Majesty places his full trust in Gilbert. Her father is firmly on his side, and above all, Gilbert is the one leading the investigation himself. He has both the authority and the skill to easily quash any baseless rumor, or even manipulate it to his own advantage if he wished. Letitia also realizes that neither Faucon nor her father had mentioned any of this to her, which makes her suspect that these rumors are limited in scope, stray embers of a dying fire, hardly strong enough to threaten anything of true substance. She asks the maid who first made such a claim, and the maid admits, somewhat sheepishly, that she herself only heard it from another maid. Even so, she explains, since Gilbert's marriage, he has noticeably softened, and only a select few people still give this rumor any credence. Letitia nods silently, thinking that older generations are more likely to cling to historical grudges and old ways of thinking, but she finds herself secretly heartened by the fact that Gilbert's gentler, softened heart is extending even to those around him. From what the maid has relayed, even among the maids there is no consensus. They are far from a single-minded group, and each seems to interpret Gilbert's demeanor differently. Still, Letitia cannot shake a persistent question about Empress Morgan. Why would she antagonize Gilbert so openly, and why involve Letitia in this dangerous crossfire? Kristoff, of course, is the crown prince, and there is no real room for dispute over succession. Yet Letitia's mind drifts to what she observed at the party. The look she caught on their way out from Prince Kristoff's party is burned into her mind's eye, a look as though he had caught sight of a particularly bothersome insect. She asks the maid about the relationship between Prince Kristoff and Lord Gilbert, noting that from her perspective, they do not seem especially close, nor has she observed anything that would suggest friction between them. The maid answers cautiously, saying that while they are not especially close, they are by no means on bad terms. They interact like brothers should, in a manner that appears perfectly ordinary to any outside observer. Yet she admits, ever since His Highness's return, she has sensed some amount of unease in their conversation. Letitia asks on His Highness' part. She replies no, it is from Lord Gilbert. There is a kind of hesitation or discomfort, like a small bone caught in the throat of their conversation. Letitia takes this in, mulling over the implications, when suddenly the sound of measured, confident footsteps echoes through the hall, and the crown prince himself enters. He wears a smile, the kind that carries trouble.